Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Henrik and I am the Scandinavian GM. In today's topic we'll start on how to build the foundations of your own custom-made personal campaign. When I run this, I usually start by thinking, what kind of theme would I like? In my last campaign I had basically two ideas that I had boiling in the back of my head. I could either go with a Viking, Northman based campaign, or I could go with an Arabic theme. An Arabic theme would draw inspiration from the Al-Qadim series. Al-Qadim was a setting in 2nd edition D&D, or then called AD&D, which I had quite a bit of success running a few campaigns early on, but it's been many years since I did it. And I long contemplated having this as my new 5th edition campaign. But many of the things that made Al-Qadim special was hard to replicate in 5th edition. So after consulting my players, having a chat, what would they like to see? They felt for going in the Northman Viking type campaign, probably inspired by the Vikings TV series that is running popular on HBO at the moment. So I started building on the Viking concept of a campaign. Now that is the base foundation of the campaign, just an idea. And then where do I place this idea? I tend to use a pre-made setting with a custom campaign. And Forgotten Realms seems to be the most favored now, and has also always been my favorite, although I have tried Dragonlance, I did try Hollow World and so on, but I keep going back to Forgotten Realms. So, where do we place Vikings in the Forgotten Realms setting? Well, a few browsings on the Forgotten Realms wiki revealed that the most likely suspects would be the isles off the coast of Sword Coast, in what is known as the Trackless Sea. Here we find icy islands known as Ruathim, the Purple Rocks, Whalebones, and Gunbarg. On these islands are the Northmen. In 2nd edition they were known as Raiders. They often attacked the Moonshae Isles, and they were a scourge on the southern lands of Faerun. So, we have Vikings. Now, we need a plot. When googling this, looking at the wiki in particular, but also having a look at other people that have created or expanded upon these islands, I found that the island most detailed was the islands of Ruathim. Actually 3 islands: Axad, Nephil, and Ruathim. So, we have 3 islands, a small island kingdom. Okay, what lore do we have? Not much. There is a few mentions of the main capital of Ruathim, a few mentions of the local ruler and other jarls in the area, and there is mention of a battle between Ruathim and Luskan. Okay, we can expand on that. So, looking at some of the background players for this battle that is listed, we find Vestres, a mind flayer, and a key player in the Kraken Society. Interesting. The Kraken Society, a secret society, a cabal of wizards, agents, all serving Slakrathel, a big kraken living and dwelling deep in the oceans of Trackless Sea, serving as a chosen one of Umberlee, the god of water, the seas, and tempests. So, Slakrathel, the big bad evil guy, perhaps, or perhaps too powerful, so perhaps Vestres will be the big bad evil. So, these are the main outlines for our plot. A small idea, a spark to build upon. Then I moved on, looking at what will be the main plot. Why is Sluggerthel the big bad evil guy? Take that as the example of the game. What is the motivation for Sluggerthel? Well, it wants to dominate the trackless sea in the name of Umberley, and by the trackless sea also expand into the Sword Coast. But this Kraken, although vastly powerful, doesn't have the power to openly oppose the existing powers in the current standing. The existing powers and my campaign, albeit 5th edition, is set in the 2nd edition timeline. Why? Well, because that is where I have most of the books and knowledge as an aging GM. So, the current powers of the Sword Coast would be the Lord's Alliance, which is Waterdeep's lords, and several allies along the coast, such as Neverwinter. The other opposing force would be the High Captains of Luskan, pirate captains backed by a cabal of powerful wizards. These could ideally band together, although commonly enemies, and oppose the might of the Kraken. So to his end, the Kraken must succeed at weakening the Lord's Alliance and the Luskan mages, preferably by making them fight each other. At the same time, at the Purple Rocks Island, which is the most remote of the islands in the Trackless Sea, Sluggerthel, the Kraken, has established already a cult-like worship, where he expects all living beings of the coast to serve him. This place really has the Lovecraftian Cthulhu vibes. A dark place, an island with his test base of cult, and he builds this cult around himself. And outside of the Purple Rocks, you have Askal, deep in the sea, a sunken city the size of Waterdeep, laying in ruins. And in this place, in the pockets of air, Vestris sits, serving Sluggerthel, giving up offerings while at the same time building an army, a force that can raid land-based targets along the coast. So, these are simple, accessible points built on the wiki pages, taken from various stories, novels and such, just reading, building, finding a few points to get a sense of a plot, a main plot for the campaign. Based on the knowledge we now have, we can start to build a main flowchart for the plot. This follows a simple description, mainly based off the same thought that you will find that Guy of the Great GM YouTube channel presents. There are phases, there is a big bad evil guy, he wants something, but he is having problems getting it. So, the main evil guy is Sluggerthel, but he also needs a cult of followers, he already has the Purple Rocks, he is converting local leaders on the other islands, but not everyone will conform to his thought easily. You also have Vestris, the Mind Flayer, that has a base of operations in Askal, and his main agenda is conquest. He is building Sluggerthel's army. At the same time, Sluggerthel is infiltrating courts in Ruthim, in Gunderlin, on the Whalebones, as well as setting up minions in Luskan and Waterdeep, the main power bases on the mainland. So, those are the getting stuff that Sluggerthel is working on. At the same time, he is building stuff, preparing himself. He is creating hostile acts in Ruthim that can be linked to Luskan. This is to provoke war. A war that used to be, but was forced into a ceasefire by Waterdeep. He is also capturing, and actually pickling, sea elves in Ruthim barrels. These are to give Waterdeep a reason to forfeit the ceasefire between Luskan and Ruthven, so that Waterdeep won't interfere in the new Luskan invasion. He is performing assassinations and replacements of leaders and key personnel around the sea. And there is also the secret of Son Modine Halls, a dwarven keep on Axel, the northernmost isles of Ruthven. An unknown place, a ruin, that might contain a great secret. Sagathel only learned of this through his agents during the last Luskan war, but he wants to learn. What is this secret, and how does he acquire it? Because the Kraken society thrives on knowledge. Then he must try attempting stuff. One of these attempts will be to remove the first axe, the primary Jarl of Ruthven, from power. And he will set in motion plots to ruin the Captain's Accord, the ceasefire between Ruthven and Luskan, enforced by Waterdeep. If he succeeds in all of these, at least to a certain degree, he will set in motion a new war between Luskan and Ruthven, and then he will have the Purple Rocks, the Northmen, save Ruthven and the islands of Gondolin from Luskan. And in saving Ruthven, the Kraken Society, with the armies of the Purple Rocks, will replace the leaders of Ruthven and the religions, so that only Umberlee remains and faithful Krakenar leaders to lead this people along with other Northman islands in the name of Sagathel the Kraken. And this will be the end of the first chapter should the players fail. Should the players succeed at this, there will be a new plot. New ways must be found to take control, because the mind of Sagathel and his will cannot be deterred from trying to control the Trackless Sea and the Sword Coast. So, now that we have a main plot, how do we build a campaign? As I said, not many places in Ruthven or the Trackless Sea is very detailed, so I chose to detail them. I made small entries for the main cities, a few small entries for the main NPCs. A useful guide here is to use random generators. If the players don't know it, if there are no information on the web, then save yourself some time. Have a creator build some of the information and then use that information. Delete what you don't like, add something you do like. What I also did was use Pinterest or just Google Images. I put in search words, Vikings, Viking fantasy, and so on. And look at the images. Look at them for inspiration. And then, as long as this is a personal campaign, something that only you will use, then save some of those images. Build on them. Create something that you can then show your players later, to give them a sense of awe, a sense of belonging, that this is a living world, a place where they could imagine being. One of my favorite random generators for D&D for building towns, cities, taverns and a few random NPCs is Kassoon.com. Here you can enter the size of the city you want, some population demographics, and then basically have a city with some tweaks and quirks generated for you. So, let's have a look at a small example of this. If I want to create a town, I could enter a name and just have one generated for me if I don't have any preference. I can set any demographics I want and then click go. As you see, you then get a town. For my example, it's Beaver Accord. It has a population of just above 6,000. It has demographics favoring humans, but with a huge halflings minority. There are a few links to points of interest, and more detailed demographics. It has a short description saying that Beaver Accord has a grand temple at the center and is known for having powerful guilds. The town is ruled by a cabal who sees power, and the races live together in mostly harmony. Then there are a few shops, taverns, and so on, detailed also. We have the Tavern of the Bloody Stallion. It lists an owner, it lists the location where you find it, and a small description. It lists some specials for the day, and a few patrons that you can use. Normally, when detailing the campaign, I skip logging details of the local patrons, but I keep the specials. And I also often click on the quests and rumors and log a few of them for visiting adventures later. Also, you have items such as the local blacksmith, the iron chain. We can see a few specials. Items that you can say that the blacksmith is known for, or special items such as magical items they have in at the moment. So, this shows the information that we can take from Kassoon and then enter into our own campaign notes. When building campaign notes, I tend to use OneNote. This is simple, it has availability in the form that everyone has it for free, and it's easy to structure and link information and pages. So, as an example, this is my campaign for the current campaign. So, it has a few structures in it. So we have the campaign, map keys, monsters, house rules, lore, locations, NPCs, random hooks, adventure keys, magic items, spells, the PCs, and so on. So these are the main structure of the campaign. And then for locations, as we see here, I have taken Ruthim, the town, the capital of Ruthim, as an example. Here we have information on the ruler, on basically a little history. We have then an image, stolen I think from Pinterest, and then we have taverns, and then following that we have an inn, the blacksmith, jeweler, and so on and so forth. As you see, most of it copied directly from Kassoon, but then we skip a few parts or add something or edit something to have that Northman Viking feel to it. So, as you can see, by taking already existing information from wikis such as the Forgotten Realms wiki, adding information that you create yourself but easily through random generators such as Kassoon, you can build a vibrant living area, not really detailed in any other setting, and make it your own. The next then would be to create the adventures. What sort of adventures will your characters, your players, be experiencing on this place? That will be the topic for my next video. See you then. Bye bye.